This is Observious bringing you guys another League of Legends commentary, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys game number 6, I believe, with my jungle maokai, which we haven't seen in a while. I didn't really play maokai after that first huge burst of games, and I went from like a 70% win rate on maokai to like a 40% win rate on maokai, and I've brought it back up a little bit, I think, in the game since then. But I've got flat AP glyphs, finally. I'm using armor yellows. I believe I'm using flat damage marks and flat AP quints. And so I think I'm going to be fairly set here for jungling maokai and just being a little bit more bursty. Now let's go ahead and talk about the team comp. We do have the Fan of the Month, Orianna, on our team. She's really strong, not so much at this elo, but at higher elo. It just depends on how good you are with her. If you can pull it off, then she will dominate. And of course we do have that Corki, who is a very strong carry, Sona to support him, and Akali going to be going to the mid lane. Meanwhile, Rumble's going to go ahead and call a good game. Apparently that's his way of saying good luck, have fun, which is a little bit weird. And it does look like the replay is going to go ahead and randomly get paused when I wasn't looking. So I'm going to be going ahead and taking that Wraith start. I didn't realize I had hit that pause button. But they do have an Annie, who is considered overpowered in low elo. A Singed, which is again an extremely hard carry, probably going to be taking the top lane, although Rumble could also. Udyr, a very strong pick, considered OP before the Skarner patch, and considered just very strong overall. Even though they did fix that Wriggles bug, where he was allowed to heal off for the Wriggles proc. And Caitlyn, who is just a very strong carry pick overall and dominates her lane with that long range. Meanwhile, Sona's going to talk about how tanking DPS is going to be tough. For some reason I'm looking at my items, and you can see over here that I'm laid that sapling a little bit late, but I will be okay. So since it is Udyr, he can do a variety of routes, but since this is low elo, or this isn't a tournament or anything like that, I'm expecting, since I don't really know the person or anything like that, him to start at blue. Although, of course, he can always start off at golems, and you can see that they have their whole team over there guarding the blue after Corki gets Sona to CV it. And gonna go ahead and grab the Wraiths instantly. I did take, I think, one hit from the Wraith, blue Wraith, and 38 AP. Let's do a little bit of math. No, I think I'm missing one flat AP glyph. So I've got 1 AP per level glyph, hence only 38 AP. Now it's up to 39. So I'm going to go ahead and take a free hit from that golem for no reason. And after I shake off the aggro, I'm going to go ahead and do my fancy level 2 gank. Now, one time I did come down here to gank in Udyr, and this didn't make the replay set, since it was before I was doing the marathon. But I ran here, there was an Udyr that had already done his blue. He was at the wolves, and he just popped Tiger Stance, and with Tiger and Turtle just outright killed me. But you can see, because I didn't really hit him with that land, and then the sapling landing, it didn't land on him. And the fact that he flashes, he will get away, since I'm not going to go ahead and flash into tower range and take chances. So that's going to cost me a little bit, but he is forced to go back, so I think that's going to hurt him a little bit worse. I did take these wolves, so that's going to help out a little bit. And Rumble isn't really going to be able to be ganked since Ryan's pushing that lane. And Akali is just going to be keeping Annie pushed back, since... Actually, that's a little bit odd. I think Annie would be keeping Akali back, but it looks like she doesn't want to spend too much of her mana, since energy is free. And of course, Sona and Corki are fairly dominating, although he does run into a Singed bottom. Singed is leaning with Caitlyn, a fairly odd bit, and Caitlyn goes after Annie, and... Not Caitlyn, Akali goes after Annie, and they kill each other. Although Akali did get first blood, so that is 100 extra gold for her, compared to how much gold Annie got. And of course this means that there's going to be a battle of the junglers going on over here. Me at level 3, him at level 3, and so just dishing out a little bit of harassment. He does have his blue buff, so he can trade harder than me, But I'm just looking really to push the lane up a little bit, try to block him from getting some last hits, which I'm not being really effective at. And I'm not really wanting to use my root unless I'm hitting with the sapling at the same time, because I will be jungling, you know, after Akali goes back. And that was actually very bad of me. Like, you shouldn't take last hits unless... No, you shouldn't really do that unless the minion was going to die anyways. But again, he's coming down the side push after Akali. Udyr is coming in. I'm of course coming back in. And it looks like she will be okay. I'm actually going to go ahead and throw a sapling. And with that pop, bring her down to a little bit over 1 bar. But because of that stun from Annie and the Udyr there, I'm going to get fairly low. But no, she's going to go ahead and come in. But Akali is going to go ahead and get picked up by the minions. And now I'm going to dive in. And I'm going to be at really low HP here with no mana since I was supposed to be recalling there. I didn't even notice Akali died in this instance. I thought that she had gotten away and had recalled, and so I was going to be left to cover the lane. But minions did pick her up. And, meanwhile, on the top lane, Rumble somehow picks up the kill on Orianna. Didn't quite see that going on over there. But I'm in really bad straits. I'm down to less than a bar, and so she goes ahead and does that lovely little W and just kills me. And the damage I was taking was, I had, you know, like maybe 1.5 bars, 2 bars, and so I took a step forward, and I got that minion aggro for about 2 seconds, and that was enough for her to go ahead and come in and hit me with that free W, as Annie herself was really, really low. But now she's going to be fairly confident here, as she is a bit fed, just a bit, as she is 3-1 in about 6 minutes into the game. Akali is of course going to be 2-2, which is somewhat similar, but I did go ahead and feed Annie that kill, so she is not going to be happy. And of course she has the blue buff from killing Akali, I guess, after she killed Udyr. So that's one way to donate the blue buff, is to let the enemy kill you and then get killed by them. And here's a little replay bug, I think, of 2 balls popping up. I've never really played Orianna since she is 6300, and I missed her release and all of that. But I don't know. I don't think you can have multiple attack balls out. That doesn't sound right to me. Meanwhile, Caitlyn and Singed are keeping the lane pushed. This makes sense since anytime the lane gets pushed by the purple team, Singed will just pop out with this poison, maybe hope to get a fling out, and Caitlyn will of course try harassing with her long range. So that makes a little bit of sense. I'm of course going to go ahead and start taking the blue after asking if Akali wants it, and she's going to go ahead and say she doesn't need it, I believe. So yay, blue buff. But looks like I'm going to be coming in to visit the bottom lane since it's been getting pushed all game. But Quirky has recalled, so we'll see exactly how well this gank goes on. And Rumble did in fact die to Orianna, but I'm just going to go ahead and wait over here. I see that Quirky's left. I'm going to go ahead and say ready, and I'm going to be like, oh, never mind. Caitlyn, however, is going to go ahead and push up and... Oh, no, this is a really bad spot. You should never really hit the spot. So, she's dead. As easy as that. Sona coming in at the last 100, 200 health in that 1Q / auto attack. And that's going to be a free gank onto Caitlyn. So Sona is going to go ahead and recall since Quirky's almost back to lane. And I'm going to go ahead and have a peek at the mid lane and find out that, oh look, there's no one there. Maybe I'll be able to take Udyr's Wraiths, since maokai is supposedly a good counter jungler. Not quite sure how, but that's the rumor. And I can see that, oh no, all these camps are taken. I see Udyr is over there, and alright, there was no minions here, so I didn't get spotted, but I see Udyr's top, so I'm just going to go ahead and take his camps. That just seems nice. And I'm going to go ahead and just turn here, and oh no, I actually get spotted by that. But Rumble is already on his way down here. He actually comes and encounters me, and he drops his ultimate, and so it looks like I could get picked off here. And if you move to the enemy team, Rumble does go ahead and throw out his Flame Spitter and pick up the kill on me. And I'm not certain how I got caught there, because the minions were trucking along, but they were only trucking along on my way out, and Rumble was of course already over here. There was no red buff, if you recall right. Wraiths did just pop up. So Rumble in fact was from the top lane, so that's extremely odd. I'm assuming that this was warded, or this was warded, and he saw me coming in. Meanwhile, Annie gets picked up by the ward. Someone dropped at Dragon. I don't know if I dropped it or someone dropped it. And so Annie's going to go ahead and get that Tippers and Ignite off on Corki, and with the Piltover Peacemaker and an auto attack, Corki is going to go ahead and go down. And Orianna over here with the red buff getting chased away by Rumble with the blue buff, which is a little bit funny since Rumble's using blue buff mainly for cooldowns, and I think it'd be much better with the red buff, while Orianna would be much better with that blue buff, but you take what you can get, and Orianna is going to recall with fairly low health and mana, and I'm going to probably head top since I see mid is pushed. Meanwhile, Kyle is coming in to gank Annie, and I don't think she'll be able to do anything. Oh, no. Yep, she's going to go ahead and get the kill onto Annie, but Caitlyn Ultimate is not going to pick up Akali, although she did get flung out after Twilight Shroud, and the poison will in fact pick off Akali. That was fairly interesting, even though there was a little bit lag since I wasn't watching it, so low replay delayed it. That was extremely interesting, very well played by blue team. Rumble, of course, is going to go ahead and keep on pushing. I'm actually going to try to grab my red buff. You can see it is only level 1, so I haven't cleared it at all yet. And that's because red buff just hurts a lot. Of course, me and Maokai are having friendly chat, and Akali's telling me to shut up. And you can see I accidentally wasted a ward here instead of hitting one of my buttons. Oh, I was trying to hit my potion, but I actually hit a ward instead. And so there's a random ward at my red. Maybe someone will come in and I'll be able to pick it up. But it looks like I probably did have to back, so me versus Udyr for a very brief moment. And so I'm going to go ahead and run in here. I do have my root, so I'm going to go ahead and cast that. Cloud's going to charge in, and we're just going to go ahead and drop him down to half health for free because the Cloud is strong like that. You know, Orianna dealing with... Is that a silence icon on top of it, or part of his overheating animation? I honestly don't know. It looks like the part of his overheating animation. Meanwhile, oh no, a flash of blue buff. And he gets it right. And looks like Rumble Ultimate is going to go ahead and miss. And with the Orianna Ultimate, she's going to be just okay. Udyr, in the meantime, is going to go ahead and be laning mid. So it looks like the junglers are just going to be working out the mid lane while both lanes gank. Successful gank going down on Caitlyn and someone else. I didn't see who else died trying to hit that tab button. Yep, Sinj was also picked off, although I can't quite find his corpse. And Rum's going to go ahead and say that the ball saved Orianna from the Ignite. And there are going to be 2 champions up here at the top. Udyr did come over here to try to save, but he got picked off by the 3 champions over here. I'm just going to go ahead and be pressured. I mean, I have red buff, but it's not really that good on Maokai. I mean, sure, it's great if you can root in with the red buff and auto-attack them to death, which is pretty much the same with any gap closer. But Orianna runs in and checks the bush, and so she goes ahead and deals some fairly decent damage to Rumble, but looks like she wasn't able to cast that AoE effect earlier here against Rumble, as that would have slowed him and done extra damage. And Akali's asking why she didn't ult, and it was, of course, on cooldown. Meanwhile, Singed and Caitlyn are back in their lane, or at least Singed, no idea where Caitlyn is. And Annie is going to go ahead and just chase Orianna for a little bit, then turn around and take the safe route back to her lane before people can kill her. Oh, nope, she did take a shortcut, but because of bush checkpoints, I guess, she is going to go ahead and make it. And now, Annie's... Oh my... That is not good. Orianna eating up lots of turret shots, gets tippered, but she will be okay. And that's a little bit scary. Only a Magic Giant, and that's just a pun on that advertisement, which I failed badly at. But Caitlyn is, of course, going to go ahead and keep last hitting. And of course, while I look away, I do go ahead and get killed rooting Annie. And So fail dive is fail. Annie's over there using a potion. She's going up to her second bar now. I was talking about how I couldn't be after the gank, and so I just dived in on Annie and died. For those who are watching that mini-map, sorry about missing that play. Meanwhile, Rumble isn't pushing the top, but we're going to go ahead and keep an eye on that mid lane while Corky goes off to cover that lane. And Akali's going to get caught out of position, but Orianna is going to be able to pick up a kill on Annie at the expense of Akali. So I'm not certain if that was worth it, although it did get Orianna blue buff, so that is fairly nice. And that's exactly how well that comes out as. And I'm just playing a really poor jungle maokai and trying to figure out what else is going on, why no one was in the top lane, stuff like that. And I actually had no idea who was top, so you could tell I was really not on my best game this match, going 0-3. But being the tank pick, and so doing what I can, in case you're wondering why I wasn't taking my jungle Alistar that I was frequenting, you can see that dragon is missing. Alistar was in fact banned for this game, as well as and needed a jungle tank pick. And so I picked maokai, and I apparently just still need to work on him. He needs work. I need to get more games in with him. So we'll see exactly how that goes. Orianna coming in with that command attack, and just sort of keeping them off the tower. Meanwhile, Akali's coming in down to Caitlyn, but Caitlyn is going to wisely back off to her tower, and so she's going to be well and dandy. So I'm going to be slowly healing up Akali. While being fairly standard, not doing overheating. Here I'd actually go ahead and attack him while he's overheated, even if he does do more damage with his attacks. And of course there's going to be a gank on the bottom lane with 4 champions in the bottom, Orianna in mid, and I'm just sort of dancing around, trying to find a way in. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the long way home, trying not to get picked out of position, as I'm pretty sure they have this warded. And we're just going to go ahead and withstand the siege down here while Orianna ticks at the mid tower, and Corky deals with Rumble. And of course, Orianna's telling to stay by the turret. I can take a blue for outside turret, and I think she meant the outside turret, but clearly that's not the case, as Singed and Annie will in fact come back, and so me and Akali are going to come in and sort of counter gank, leaving Sona a support and a little bit of non-choice to leave out of the lane. We're going to go ahead and leave her to stay hold to the lane. I'm going to go ahead and peek in and be like, oh hey, it's a Singed. Hello, wild Singed. And so he's going to go ahead and play it safe here. He's going to be a little bit worried here, but I don't think he has too much to be worried about. Annie has of course come up all the way from the mid lane to harass Corky, so now we're at a 2-1-2, like because Singed has traded. Akali doing some fairly nice damage on We're being forced to dance, but he does have that red buff on there. Caitlyn's able to get an auto attack, and I don't know who's going to come out on top over there. It looks like they're going to come out fairly even, although Sona is going to sustain with that heal. Neither one side wants to engage. Rumble's of course sitting in the bush of this ward, and so he's going to be easy prey for anyone who dares to come upon him. And it looks like he could be... realizes he's caught. Orianna though misses her ultimate, and so that's going to heavily impair the damage output over here, but it's not going to matter because she still has blue buff, and we're going to pick her kill anyways. Hopefully no one will have any sort of team fight, and needing that Orianna ultimate in the next, what do you say, a minute or so. Caitlyn coming in to cover the mid lane. Now, we don't really have any view of this side of the river, but should be okay since Akali is lurking, trying to come around for the kill. And he is top, and Singed is over here. Orianna, in fact, picks up the kill onto Caitlyn. Didn't even see if she used her ultimate there. I'm guessing she did, but I don't think it has that short of a cooldown. Udyr coming back up to now take control of the lane. Just trying to sustain at this point in time. Annie and Corky are, of course, dueling it out. He is ignited. He is extremely low HP. If he gets off one auto attack, that's it. Corky's going to go ahead and splash safely. And I'm going to go ahead and try to get Annie. It looks like she will escape. watch my health just tick away. Tibbers doing amazing work. I'm going to flash in since I thought she was like one skill combo away from death. But it turns out, while I was chasing Annie, Tibbers and a Q take me from, oh, say 40% health, if not higher, to dead. And that's, of course, Annie's burst and burning Tibbers for you there. Rumble to try to save Annie from the Akali, and Akali is forced to jump out. So Flame Spitter, but oh no, Rumble ultimate does go down, and he could possibly get the kill. Nope, not going to happen. Orianna, meanwhile, is going to go ahead and get picked off somewhere. Not quite certain where that was from. She did die over here trying to come up to the lane, so that's a little bit of pity. Udyr got exhausted very brilliantly diving the tower on Akali, and so he got baited fairly hard and of course goes down for his troubles. And Sona is just rocking the bottom lane, sustaining versus Singed, and kind of last hitting, kind of not. We go ahead and look at the CS. It's the Corki's at 113. No one else is really near. Hooters at 96, I suppose. Orianna's at 90. No one else is really above 70 outside of those three. And you can see top lane has got that free top tower with maokai now covering the top lane, which has been fairly contested this entire game. And the mid game, of course, is in full force at the 20-minute and 30-second mark. And for those who don't know, this Akali over here had something to prove. You can see that she was the last pick, and so she was talking about how Orianna was a terrible pick and a really bad champion overall. And so I had brought up in the champions, like, well, you're the last pick, so maybe at whatever elo you're at, she's terrible, but I think she's a fairly decent champion if he can play her. And so someone else picked up on the whole last pick, that Akali must suck. And so she took that to heart and did her try hardest. And because she's an assassin, she can carry the CLO. She assassinated their squishies, which is pretty much everyone except for Singed. I'm actually hitting the hotkey to change the speed, in case you're wondering. That was a little bit of an accident there. But Udyr's fairly squishy until he gets his tank items. Caitlyn's squishy, Rumble's squishy apparently at the moment. Singed, they're not really getting any resists except for Udyr. That's a little bit interesting there. Speaking of Udyr, he's going to go ahead and make himself really overextended, but he does want to kill this tower pretty badly, or at least snap all the minions. He's going to go ahead and bear stance away after getting picked up by a clairvoyance from Sona. That's a little bit weird of a clairvoyance, and of course, this is the summer version of Summoner's Rift, so instead of having the boneyard stuff going over here with buried champs, you're not going to really see anything. And Annie is going to go ahead and disconnect from the game. Notice how it says left the game, not quit, and then left the game. So, go ahead and get blue to Orianna there. So, we could see Annie back in the game in a few minutes, but that could impair the winning or losing of the game. It is fairly even at the moment, as it is 1 tower to 1 tower. They are up a dragon at the moment, so that's in their favor. But then again, we are up 3 kills, so that is that. Meanwhile, we're not really able to put out the damage versus Singed. It does have 93 magic resist. That has to be MR per level glyphs. That has to be. What is he getting armor from? Plus 69? I mean, really? Meanwhile, of course, Sona and the Kali are going to go ahead and deal with the Rumble. And he's going to go ahead and try to run to the top to stay alive, get pinched, and the ward is going to go ahead and pick up Caitlyn coming in, but she's going to go ahead and wisely back off, not try to head over to Udyr's tower. And Corki and Singed are going to go ahead and just keep dueling out. Looks like Singed could possibly get a fling on Corki here. Maybe it's on cooldown. I'm not certain what's going on there, but he is definitely getting harassed. Speaking of Udyr, maokai is going to go ahead and come over here to harass Udyr. Alert him. He's going to go ahead and get Udyr's done. Go ahead and slow him up, and we're just going to go ahead and bring him down a little bit. Just a little bit. And he's going to realize, oh, hey, I can't win. So now he went from full to 40%. And Kali, meanwhile, is of course going to go ahead and get the kill onto Caitlyn. Of Corky, meanwhile, has picked off the top outer turret, but he's going to go ahead and chase Singed. And they're both going to be ghosting, and with that big one, going to be able to pick up the kill on Singed. Not quite certain as to what his HP is at, but I guess we'll find out later. Rumble, however, intercepts Oriana. Go ahead and ultimate her, and she's going to go ahead and flash out of the ultimate in a line just to escape that Rumble menace. Udyr, of course, coming up saying, I want some action, and she's going to go ahead and run into the bush. Udyr apparently forgot that I was in the area, so he's going to go ahead and get taken down, possibly. That turtle stance is just taking him, but looks like the Q damage plus a Sona auto attack will be enough. Rumble is, of course, going to go ahead and back out from this. I'm going to go ahead and root him, and Akali might be able to get the jump off. Possibly. Go ahead and land that. And we might... Oh, no, Akali just decided to dive him. And she's going to go ahead and get the kill there. Now, Caitlyn's in trouble. She's been exhausted. I'm going to go ahead and root her anyways. And Akali is going to go ahead and dive her. Now, mind you, Caitlyn hasn't shot me yet, so this should be an executed. And... Is it? Nope. Caitlyn did apparently get an auto attack somewhere. But Blue Team is going to go ahead and 3 votes for and 0 against, not letting Annie reconnect. And so that is going to go ahead and be the victory. And I hope you guys enjoyed this rather short, kind of awkward Game 6 where I personally failed, but the team did okay. And sometimes you will get these games, and it's just something you gotta do. Gotta fill the appropriate roles, of course, for that to work. I was tanking, that was kind of needed. But I am blathering on, so I'll see you guys in Game 7. This is Observious, signing out.